If only you had died taking your own life, then I would have gotten to know what your name was. If you had taken your own life, your loved ones would have spent the rest of theirs making people aware of why you couldn't take it anymore. They could pour their pain into arrows of anger and build a Jabberwocky to hunt for, but nobody wore a shirt bearing your face. Not a candle was placed, and you were shuffled back to page 9, because wrong place, wrong time isn't tragic enough to print in front page fonts. Never once did they say your name. Never once did they call you a cause, paste you on posters. You were just over. A sudden end like fractured film reels, your body rewritten by wheels, your bones breaking tones of an unfinished requiem to a girl I only knew as victim, pedestrian, aged 13, whose condition those on the scene would describe as critical. If only you had died, eaten inside out by a slow, starving cancer, those who care for you could have collected last times like new tumors, tic-tac-toeing every constellation and poem they had time to find in your freckles. I wonder how your father would have said goodbye that morning had he had any idea that it wasn't just an automatic response, that just this once he had to mean it. He would have watched you smile in detail, because the pale version of you that is a stranger under bandages and blood and breathing tubes is stealing what he knew about how beautiful you were before you ran into the street. Your defeat took 2 weeks, and yet he missed the symphony of beeps when the quiet settled in like new realities, like absence would be a bigger tragedy than having to consciously agree to pull plugs from machines to stop forcing your breathing, and he was still grieving when they filled the space where you were. Someone, they could use the same machines and a new IV for a girl who would get to go home 2 days later. If only you had died, old, gray, married, with your parents long since buried, your own children holding your hand as you let go. Your tombstone could have spelled limitless things, and now the phone rings in an endless loop in your father's ear, and he picks up and I can hear his heart break like the brakes on the car desperately trying to stop. Please stop, just inches before you were no more 13. 13. And you went out with a whimper instead of a roar, your death a literal detour before you could be more than 13. And the scene was simple, like a painting. Your bright red backpack, a brush stroke framed by yellow police tape. But the thing that is hardest with God as an artist is how little he seems to care whether or not those who see his work understand it. So the hoarse demand of your father falters and falls on deaf ears. Either God doesn't hear or he doesn't feel like he needs to defend why he made you a masterpiece with a beginning, a middle, and then took away your